Morning, morning, morning. Yes, we're back with another episode, another rider. Today we have an interesting couple, very happy, nice rapport. They get on very well. But funnily enough, I was hearing some strange kind of, well, I'll let them explain how it goes because I'm learning something too today. So nice to have you here today.
Thank you for having us, Simon.
Hello. Do you want to take it?
Yeah, got it.
Okay. So tell us, what does this polyamorous mean?
First of all, it's polyamory.
Okay, Anne-Marie. What does that, explain it, because I've never heard about it and you were explaining it earlier on, so I'm very interested.
So the word translates to love many.
Okay. Is it Greek or something?
I don't know.
Oh, alright.
Yeah, polyamory. It's just the idea of having multiple loves.
Multiple loves.
Yeah.
Alright. And how long have you two known each other for?
We've known each other for about 8.5 years. I guess maybe even 9.
9 years.
Yeah, 9 years.
Really? And you've been together all that time?
Best friends as teenagers.
Yeah.
And how did you come to the conclusion that that kind of relationship was the best thing for you?
It kind of evolved over time, I think. Like, when we had met, we were quite young, and so we both had varying interests. And just through talking about it, I think we just, I don't know, we worked through what each other wanted, and over time it evolved into being this situation where we could just say, all right, we're polyamorous and these are our boundaries.
And for me, I've always loved to love people and always gotten on with different people and wanted to share that. So the idea of being monogamous, which is just one-on-one, seems stranger than not having many loves to me. But in society, it's just all about one-on-one. But what we have to realize is that there are multiple ways of having a relationship and living out that relationship. You can flirt with others and then come back home and then use all of that energy on each other, or you can go back out and do more than that. There are so many things you can do, and there are lots of people doing it.
What brings to mind is obviously you're a loving couple and you have your situation. A bit like Jada Pinkett and yeah, okay, no, fair enough. Now I get it. When you want to have children, assuming you will, or you do want to have children someday, will you stop that stop that system, or will you go back to the traditional, or will you carry on?
That's a great question.
Yeah. I always thought about it as, you know, when there are children involved, how much you're open about that kind of thing to them is a different dynamic. I think I've always said that we should take it as it comes, sort of cross the bridge as we get to it, and see what works in that dynamic, because I think children are very sensitive to sort of who's in their life and who's coming in and out, and sometimes you can't have too many varying people who have too much significance. But generally, I don't know, I think it's something that we might just see as the time comes.
See how it goes. I reckon we'll be busy for the first 1 or 2 years or so after having a child.
Definitely.
But yeah, we'll see how it flows.
Yeah.
Had you had that discussion already? You seem to be discussing a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yes.
We've had this before.
Okay.
Vaguely. The kid situation, vaguely.
Yeah.
What I meant though was from the angle of when you're going to be conceiving, if you're sleeping with for different people, then it could prove to be.
I see what you mean.
You know, who's the baby daddy? kind of Jerry Springer kind of situation.
Yeah.
So how would that work?
Well, if we're conceiving, then I guess it's just a thing of just us. This is not something that we are constantly doing all the time, every single day.
No.
This is just on a night out. If we're enjoying the people that we're with, the connections that we're having, this is just something that we might communicate to each other at some point and explore. But this is not a constant, everyday thing.
And let's not forget that I also like multiple genders. So I go through, a lot of phases. I date a lot of women. So if it were to come to the point where, I'd like to conceive or so, then obviously women can't do that, so it may be okay.
You
all depends.
You mentioned you've been to a swingers party. I've never been to one.
Mm-hmm.
I have a military mate who went to one, but no one wanted him. Can you? Okay, well, he didn't speak German, and we was in the German base, and he decided to go off thing, and so. But he had bad teeth, so I'm not surprised. But can you tell me, what's a swingers party like? What happens at a swingers party?
Well, we're not so used to swingers parties. We've been to one, but we mainly go to queer fetish parties, you could call it, which are very different to the typical swingers parties.
Okay. Yeah.
In fact, we just came from one just now.
So what happens at a queer fetish party?
Well, to be honest, I think there's a lot of stigma behind what it actually looks like on the surface. I mean, if you imagine a club where you still have a DJ in the beginning at the front of the club, and you've got people dancing, and there's quite foggy because of all the smoke, and there's a bar, it's very much the same. But the difference usually is that there are different areas for different things. So as it is a fetish party, so people can explore their sexual desires in different areas of the club as well. So, I mean, in the one that we were just at, there was a playroom upstairs, and there was some apparatus, there were cuffs in places, there were places where people were having sex, and there was a lot that you can see there, and a lot you can do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had a friend who has told me she is invited to an adult party.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the same as a swingers party?
Well, it depends.
Yeah.
I think so. I think it'd be like a swingers party.
Sounds like it would be a swingers party. It also might be just like it might be a bit softer than that as well. I've seen like adult parties can be where there might not be as much intercourse or much play, but there still be quite intimate in a sense.
Okay. You learn something every day.
You do. We're on a mission I'm on a mission to try as many sex parties in London as possible this year.
And there are a lot, actually.
And there are quite a lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of getting to drift with, because I'm dropping people places and hearing things. So it's all a big eye opener for me.
Yeah.
In that respect. Yeah.
And how has that impacted your life?
Doesn't bother me. As long as everyone pays, I don't care. I'm not in the party, am I? I have to say, earning a living in that respect. But yeah, I hear you. Yeah. Are you both religious?
Wow.
We bonded over religion, funny enough, growing up, and we actually didn't want to have sex till we were married. Yeah. So it's taken a big turn over the years.
What do you think was the turning point?
I think it was different for both of us. My turning point was, I mean, sort of my religious sort of journey was, I'm very inquisitive, and I'm always trying to figure out why and what and how, and so it caused me to read and get into all these rabbit holes. And my turning point was more that I got to a point where I was just not finding many answers, no matter who I was talking to, no matter what book I was reading, and I kind of realized that life, that this life that we have now is very limited. Regardless of what you believe in as your afterlife, what you have now is probably not going to happen again, and so you might as well take what has been put on this earth for yourself to enjoy, and take how your next stage comes. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Is your background Christian?
Yeah, my background's Christian.
And the lady?
My background's mixed, actually. I grew up with a lot of different faiths. I grew up with Islam, a little bit of from the Methodist Church, Catholicism, Jehovah's Witness for 7 years, studying the Bible, and I was a devout Catholic as well, and a bit of Buddhism and Judaism. So it was a really big shift for me.
Your mum was all over the place.
My mother was all over the place, and now I think she's a bit of a Wiccan.
Would you say you're very much like your parents?
Not at all. I think my siblings always compare me to my parents and say they don't understand because we're nothing alike. I'm the only one who's nothing alike. But you never know, over the years maybe I'll come to to be like them.
Okay. Now, you've been a great guest. As we're coming to a close, my last question to you two is, first of all, I wish you well in your journey of life.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What's the impact you want to have on the world if you could give the world anything?
Well, I mean, I can tell. I mean, just on the basis of our relationship, at least, I want to show people that, you know, your relationship is what you make it, and it doesn't have to be what everyone else tells you it should be. And that's something I've learned just from us being polyamorous, is that, you know, you can have dynamics and connections with people, and it is just how you want it to be. It shouldn't necessarily be how other people want it to look. But that's just off this relationship. My aspiration, what I want to give to the world, is also different from that. But what about you?
So what you're saying, I'm just confirming, it's overcoming stereotypes.
Yeah. Overcoming stereotypes, and I think it transgresses into more than just relationships, but as a basic point, I think, yeah.
And the lady?
What I'd like to show the world is that there are multiple ways of doing everything in life, and that you don't have to follow one strict structured rule that's already been set out for you. Go and explore, do what feels right to you, and you'll feel happy.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot for that, and we wish you well.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much for having us.
Thanks, man.